Dr. Isma.
Hello.
So hi. I,
How are you? No worries.
thank you. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. So I know, and so everyone, Thor had a class, I think, so that's why. Yeah, he arrived a bit later. Okay, so I would like to take my chance to say good evening to everyone, and to whoever you know me. I'm Elham Shafai, director at IE Art Projects Online Art Foundation, and I would like to take my chance to welcome all of you to This Must Be the Work, Tor Seidel's artist talk in connection to his current solo exhibition at IE Art Projects. Tor Seidel is a German artist who works as a lecturer at the College of Fine Arts and Design, University of Sharjah. Beyond this, he is also an author, filmmaker, and curator. Tor Seidel studied arts and then philosophy, earning an MA in philosophy, archaeology, religious studies at the Free University of Berlin. In his work as an artist and photographer, he had traveled throughout Europe, Asia, Africa, and the MENA region. I would like to present a video of his solo exhibition at IE Art Projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Tor.
Hi.
See you.
Sorry for being so late.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, you did this already.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Tor, and I'm working as a lecturer at the College of Fine Arts and Design in Sharjah. I'm working in different directions, so with diverse media. And I'm happy to be here today and to talk to you.
Thank you. So can you tell us about This Must Be the Work?
Yes. Okay, the exhibition is basically separated in two different parts, I would say. So in the beginning, there was I was starting 2020 with a body of work which is based on the aesthetics of barriers, borders, clues, etc. And I was using tape and other cheap materials. So they were fascinating for me in a way that I find I see that our world, which is surrounding us, is overwhelmed by, it's overwhelming us with signage, with restrictions, restricting signals, etc. And you can find these materials in some of these supermarkets and 1 to 10 dirham shops, and I was starting to work with this. And then I finished the work, but I was not so happy about this. I thought it's very much, let's say, it's very much about design, what I did. And but I was also conceptual-wise a little bit struggling with it. I was thinking, okay, when I use a certain kind of tape, which is being used in Corona times in order to guide us and convince us to keep certain regulations. So how does it work in a studio when I use it for my purposes? Does it still meet the concept or not? And I found at a certain point that it was not so satisfying for me, and I had to have a break of approximately 2 years until I started to get it out of the archive again and to work with this again. And I was then going through this full idea and thought, okay, what's about repacking it and using tape as on, let's say, in different layers on top of this, which is considered an original. Yeah, this is basically the idea of having two works together. Yeah. So when you read the labels, you see there's written original and original, which is a kind of contradicting. But I consider now that the original piece from 2020 is one body of work, and the new work is another original, which is in a way, of course, hiding, also protecting the other work, let's say the first original. And right, so this repackage process was basically the starting point for me to think about doing more with this and making an exhibition. And so.
Thank you, very interesting. And so I'm curious about that when you mentioned in your statement, of course, about the post-digital aesthetic. So we have a lot of young artists and art students here today. Yeah, they join us. So just that would be interesting for them to follow and to learn more about that post-digital aesthetic. Can you please explain about that further?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's a very theoretical, it's not such a theoretical thing. I have to mention quite in the beginning, the major theorist who also coined the term post-digital art or post-digitalism, etc., which is Mel Alexenberg, a brilliant author, is quite. He's also a professor in the US since more than 40 years, I guess. He was let's say, researching and investigating everything what belongs to the interface of analog, let's say, physical world, artwork, and digital. And that's a very important source. Yeah, I can just tackle this. That's one point. Let's say I was reading a lot about this, and also everybody has experience. We are all together in this world with these digital aesthetics, and they came maybe 20 years, I don't know, 30 years up. Yeah, I mean these flickering glitches, etc. Yeah, all this. And so there was a time where, especially in arts and also in electronic music, for now, I guess, over 30 years, these artists were working with these aesthetics, and they were, in a way, admiring it. Yeah. So thinking about electronic music, samples, hip hop, all this. Yeah. So. And also then the first digital artworks, etc. And then comes this starting, or let's say, I would say when it was starting, but there's then this transition phase when digital is a kind of lost this emphatic phase, yeah, and it is starting to turn into this post-critical phase, which almost every development, is it in arts or wherever it is starting to do. So in this critical, or let's say this post phase, you can call post-digitalism, which means nothing else than we are adapt to it, yeah. So we are used to it. So everybody knows what it is. We work with iPhones, with digital devices every day. We sleep with it at night. It is under the skin, yeah. So this human behavior, which is going into a very certain, how to say this, alliance with digital structures, devices, medias, etc. It's a very different thing, and I guess we live with it. Yeah, that's I guess the basic the conceptual idea. So, or let's say that's also the core idea of what is post-digital art. Yeah, we live with this, and we don't see it anymore. It's just a little bit like you plug out electricity from a socket, and then you realize, oh, nothing is there anymore. It was before there. So the question is what? So yeah, all digital equipment is relies on that. You only see, and you don't talk about this anymore. You don't see it. You don't realize it. You don't perceive it. You only realize it when it comes to a blackout. Yeah. Then you understand how much you are rely on this, these digital devices and on all technologies, etc. So I see this in a positive way, because first of all, it helps, to go through to every day. And then it's not just about aesthetics anymore. Yeah, it's much more. I guess this is what I had in mind when I was talking about this in my concept. And let's say, coming back to my artwork, you see these two pieces there. And I would say, I was thinking, okay, you have the first piece, which is like a glitch. Yeah, there's one of these bigger, larger works in the exhibition, and it has a kind of a glitch character. And on top of this is now the second piece, or another original, which is counter-striking it. Yeah, it has several layers, and you can extend this to a certain level, yeah, until you don't see it anymore, but it is still there. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. I don't want to make it too theoretical, but you was asking. Sorry.
No, so just all of this are very useful information for everyone to understand the concept, and of course to have a better understanding of the words. So also in your statement, you mentioned about the eyes of the flesh and the machine eyes. Can you please explain about that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody everybody is also used to this. I'm simply my simple understanding is machine eyes are in a way way better than human flesh-made eyes. Yeah. So we are very our eyes are very let's say weak and simple to violate, etc. And but what I basically mean is a machine eye is persistent and insensitive. Yeah, it is also in a metaphorical sense or figurative way saying it is remembering everything. Yeah, so there's a good backup system, yeah, in the best sense of the meaning. And whilst what you see with your human eyes, it's a very inconsistent or short-lived perception, and also let's say a very short process of memorization. So that what I mean is you go and see a landscape, for example, and you enjoy nature, yeah? So all your senses are active, and you capture as a very active human being everything what is important for you in the moment, yeah? Conscious and subconscious. Whilst sitting for a computer, I would like to ask you, what do you recapitalize or recognize after a day? Yeah, so you have sitting a day on your computer, doing stuff, things like this. And then you go back into a program, just using this as an example, like Premiere and a video program. And the moment you open the program, you are, oh, wow, yes. And then you need help. So you have to get all chains, elements of the chain again back into the sortiment to understand what you was doing the day before. So it's a kind of a very different perception, and this is basically what I mean with this. Yeah, that machine eyes are a very different thing. I forgot a little bit why I was tackling this in the other statement, but anyhow, it's a little bit, has a little bit to do with this digital, post-digital thing. And I also see that people I meet like friends or students, they are rely a lot on computers and on digital media. Yeah, they have kind of a different perception, I would say. Yeah, and or what I also see is that some are not so interested in, let's say, getting nature or perceiving, exploring senses, something like this. Yes, because they are used to work with digital devices all day. It's something like this.
Yeah, thank you. So can you please tell us about this work's production process, like how you got into, just how the way you use those, just objects or fun objects, or just whatever you use for these pieces. How the way, just the installation, or just not to say installation, how the way, just you put those together. Like, is there any technical, just a way, certain way to do that? You can talk about that for, just for our knowledge.
Yeah, let's say aesthetically, it started a little bit with a project I was doing in the past when I was photographing mannequins. I called them mannequins, so sidewalk puppets or street signalmen, something like this. And there's a certain so in this in everything about this our the environment of a city, like a typical city like in Sharjah and Dubai, there's a certain aesthetic in when it comes to construction, to traffic, to roads, etc. And it's also, I would say, overwhelming. Yeah, it's in a way more than you would see in, let's say, in Germany, and or in a typical city in Berlin, in Germany, like Berlin. And so I was getting familiar with this, and I like this in a way. So I guess there is some path back to this. And then I was also thinking about that all these restrictions, boundaries, barriers, indications we see every day were increasing in the pandemic, during the pandemic, and I mean, everybody was experiencing this. Yeah, so in an elevator, you find the signage, yeah, we have to stay, keep distance, etc. And so it was growing up, increasing, and this, and I was always also just wanted to mention this, doing the work about it in my last solo show at my art center. So it's something what I wanted to work with when I came then to one of these, I mentioned this already, 1 to 10 dirhams shops, or 1 to 10 dirham shops. And I found all these tapes and cheap materials, and I realized, oh wow, that's exactly this material they're going to use on the streets and here in the studio in the office. And yes, and then I started with testing this, how to get out of these materials a kind of a work. And I guess I was saying this already. I finished some, and then I thought about, okay, what's the message? What do you want to say? And I stopped working with this because I couldn't see a full conceptual work with. When I started again, I was thinking about these layers you would use, or I was using them in order to change, distort, also destroy the original piece. And I was thinking much more back to a way of working where you see more a process, and you're going to get interactive with the audience, because someone is asking you, what is that? Is it still packed, or what? Or is it not unwrapped? So what do you do with this? And I had friends and colleagues here in the studio, and they were asking exactly this question. Yeah. So why is this in foil, and what is on top of this? It looks interesting, but what is it? So this is a way much more interesting for me when I see immediately somebody's asking about a part of the process I was doing, or about what is irritating. More interesting than having just a piece on the wall and then someone's coming and says, wow, nice artwork. Yeah, so I'm more interested in working in a way that the process is always also visible. Not always, but the process is visible, and I get in a conversation with audience which is not even close to art. Let's say this. Yeah. I had somebody here who was looking at this and taking it, and I was saying, it's not unwrapped. Should I do this? But it was one of the workers here. It was a very funny moment, and so I guess this is somehow how I try to work it out, and how to come closer to a more comprehensive concept.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But when we come to this point, so just can you, because just our audiences today, maybe they don't know, or they saw the work just now, but still I'm not the host to just to share my screen. So anyway, so they can go back and check the artworks and the catalog in the website later. But what I want to ask you, I want you to talk about that, just the repackaging, or like, just the original and then the other original. So just basically the R1 work, right? So just you just do repackaging for the original work, and then that original work, it becomes another original, right? Yeah. So just, and then so for this exhibition, because we showed it like online, so that was possible to show both of those beside each other. But just if in a physical exhibition, you might only have the second original, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very important point. That's not really specified also in this exhibition, so, because it's also interesting. It's not easy to do. So we did not, let's say, tackle you and me, or when we were doing this, that one of those pieces on the wall is not even able to get it on the wall because it's basically one piece.
Yeah, this is an interesting part of this.
Yeah, it's a little bit it's a little bit a trick. I like this because it goes back to what is digital and post-digital. So you can do this, when you have a virtual I don't like to use this word now, but I'm just using metaverse, So you have a virtual gallery, and you go in and you find all these elements, but of course they are not there. But here you can do this. So, to make it clear for the audience, sorry when I confuse you, of course there's only one piece. So you see these two similar pieces on a wall. But basically what you would see now, conceptually, let's say close to my concept, in a gallery, in a physical gallery, would be on the right side here, this piece of which has what you also can see, which is wrapped and has some other layers on top, and it's not so good to see or visible. And under this is the original work. And now I was talking about, okay, there is this, consider this as an original, but when it comes to the piece which is in the gallery, the physical work, which is in a acrylic glass hood, or it is covered and packed, and you cannot simply get rid of it, or you cannot get the original out of that. So then you see a new piece, let's say this, or a new work. And I was thinking, good, that's the second original. So we have two originals then, which is the original and the second, original, because it's not a copy, it's not a fake, it is not a copy paste or something. It is something what is
transformed somehow. The original transformed to another.
It's a transformation. It's a transformation, and here it comes a little bit where I'm going to play with the idea of what is the relation between the artist and the let's say the collector or someone who is interested to buy it, because I think it's in the art world, it cannot be only this. It cannot be only this relation. There's more. There's a very complex system. Everybody who's an art knows that. So it's much more than just the relation of an artist and a collector, of course. So it's not only about money, but when it comes to this, you raise questions. So you might ask, right? So under this here is the original piece, but what is this then? And I would say as an artist, that's the original, but the other original. And then the interested collector would, I can show him a copy. Let's say a copy can be a very cheap copy of a photograph of the original piece of work. And I would say, yes, you have to buy this here, which is now the new body of work or the new piece. Additionally, you can purchase this copy. It's maybe also cheap, or it has, it's a good print, whatever. And you pay exactly this price. It comes in this acrylic hood. You cannot unpack it. If you do so, you violate the contract because you want to get the original out of that here. That's a violation. Then you have to pay me exactly the price for that piece as well. So it's a little bit,
the concept behind is very complicated.
Because let's say it's a little bit also about the commodity of something. When art is reduced to just being a commodity, something what you have to purchase, what you can purchase, what you can buy, and you use it as a let's say investment. Yeah, and consider this as that. Then I have, let's say, I think this is not enough. Yeah, for making art or for talking to the audience. And I like this, this discussion a little, because I also think that nowadays it's a kind of way too complicated to differentiate for many people between what is an original, what is a fake, what is a copy, what is copy paste, what might be inspired and is identical, etc. Things like this. It's of course, it's a huge discussion. There are many gray zones. Also, let's say, talking about what I'm doing here as a lecturer. When I discuss this topic with students, it's sometimes very interesting to understand that they don't have any knowledge about this. Of course, it's something what is a part of our education here. So to train them in order to understand what is copyright, for example. And but I see that, or I understand that this was a kind of different way back. So maybe 10 years or 20 years back, when in a time where artwork was not simple, very simple, achievable, or let's say accessible. Yeah. Now you just, if you want to see something, if you want to get an inspiration, you Google it, and just a name or something. I just Google a phrase, and then you get millions of images, and you're going to start to work based on this, but you don't get any context. You don't get any references or any deeper into. You don't read. You don't have to read. You just use it as an inspiration. So many do, and it's a very different thing than let's say being in the art world 20, 30, 40 years back, where I had to travel to a place in order to see, for example, Francis Bacon. So I would travel to London to see Francis Bacon exhibition, and it had an aura, an aura around all these in this space artworks, and this is something what is a gift, when you see it and you understand it's a very different way than just looking at a screen and using it. So it's a very complex thing, and I guess I wanted to somehow also to talk about this with this play, with this little game. Okay, what's now the original, and what's happening if someone is really interested to buy exactly this piece, but he's more interested in the original because he can see the copy or the photograph I have of the original. And I have to say, no, that's not possible at this very moment. If you do this,
it's a very playful concept, and which I like it. So it's very, very, very much interesting. You mentioned also in your statement, you allude to the meaning of original, duplicate, and edition or fake. You also mentioned today. So there's a question: how long you think you are going to be, just interested, or how long you have planned to continue with this series, or this series is already done? I mean, just you're done with this series, or you are still going to continue further with this series? So what is your
plan? Thanks for this question. At the moment, I'm not so sure. First, I would really love to see the work also in a let's say physical space, that I get into this discussion with the audience, and then I would see if I continue with it. There are other pieces. There are a few more. Maybe it doesn't more. I did not fully, let's say, resolved it. And but let's say conceptual wise, I would like to continue. I don't know if I'm continue working with these materials. But I have a few other more spatial works at the moment. They are ready, and so they are not in this exhibition. So more 3D objects. Yeah, I was also working with this. So not just flat pieces on a wall, but also 3D objects. But and then you was mentioning that I'm doing video film. Hello. So a part of a few of those pieces, there are also the set up, or yeah, a part of the setup in one of these videos. And so I'm just trying to accumulate what is value to pursue. And if I see there's something what is very interesting to go, then I'm following this path. But it's not like, okay, I found something, now I have to do this until next year or so, something like this. Yeah. And there are more other interesting, also other interesting works I have not even finished. And I don't have so much time. I have a family and I have a full-time job. So it's always a question. It's always a balance. Yeah, how to come away with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have another question for you, and which is about, just because you are a multidisciplinary artist, I can call it, because you do different, not just photography, you do installation, just that recent exhibition you had. So that was like that, your soap project, which was very interesting. And so, just different types of work you are doing. So just one of the questions, it might help also our young artists here, is how is your decision making for different projects? So just, just how you come to this idea, okay, this project I want to, this is like a commission, or this is like, just if for your personal work. So just how that happens to you, or, how you make decision like this one, just you were, just you had something in mind, and, just your life experience, somehow, just you got into, just using those, just signs, or, just the tapes, or, just to put those together, and then the strong concept behind that happened, and just we can see this work. So just I want you to explain about your decision making, since you are a multidisciplinary artist.
I guess I would say I purchased the role of, or I question, or I like to question the role of an artist, all the time. So in the society, in a specific environment, and this is the most, I guess that's the red thread in my all my works. So first of all, it is very much about where you find yourself in your world, and how you are going to interact, and where you find resistance, and things like this. Coming back to, we had this before, to these mannequins, they to all these signage and restriction, let's say, signal aesthetics, etc. So I guess here I was also very much about thinking about how you are as a human being, and as a member of a society, are being restricted in that what you are doing, and how you have to follow this. How much, because as an artist, you might follow a different path. You might think the freedom comes first, in a wider sense. Freedom in that that's the meaning that as an artist, you don't want to follow anybody, you just want to do your own thing. And that's a very interesting moment. And of course, it's a kind of hard to do this. And I would also say sometimes not possible. Yeah. And then you start with compromises, or with you start with arrangements. Yeah. You're going to arrange, you modify yourself, you're going to change yourself. Yeah. You like in the beginning of something, you might think, okay, I would never do this. And you find yourself at the end of the process and not desperated because you did it, but changed, yeah, altered somehow. And you understood, okay, I did something what in the beginning I did not really wanted to do. And but running this process was a kind of an experience I did not expect it. So there is something for me. And yes. Okay, I would say, coming back to your question, so it depends not so much on media, yeah, and or let's say on materials. It is very much about the basic, the initial question: what am I, and where am I, and why is happening exactly this year? Yeah. Do I question it? Do I want to make my comment, etc.? Things like this. At the moment, I'm just to add this. Since approximately 2 years, I have been back more to this what you call art film or art video, and I'm happy to pursue this a little bit more, because there I can involve and include more or other techniques and materials. And what is very important for me is that I can also include language and the human voice, sound, music, something like this. And it is more a performative way of working something out, and I can convey my narrative much better than, let's say, also in a very experimental way, than just having, for example, a sequence of photographs. So I like this. I like to work with this at the moment very much. It's a very comprehensive piece what you get when you do this. And again, it's in particular here related to language, which I do miss sometimes in some art forms. Yeah. So for example, photography, of course, some artists do. But here you can include this, implement this in a much more active way. Okay, now here we see some piece artworks. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Finally, I'm the host. So, do you want to explain anything? You know, just maybe this one without the. I just explained this. Yeah. This one without that wrapping is the original #1, and then the other one is original #2, right? Or we can call it like that maybe, or the other original. So these are
these are the pieces from basically from 2020. This is not from, that's from last year. And but then here I was already starting with this process, and this is the final work. Yeah, so this is the final work, which I call then original plus original. Yeah, which is of course a little bit irritating, and also here, so which is on the work on the left side, on the right side is the real, yeah, so the work you would see physically, and under this is the left one, and this is when I was talking about this situation. You wanna see the other work that's in a way impossible, because you would destroy the new work or the other original, yeah, something like this. And yeah,
So now everyone has a clear idea about the original and the other original.
And you might also see that his the photography part is it looks in a way cheap, yeah. Or you see on the right side, you see light, yeah, reflections, and it looks a kind of different and looks packed. Simply, it is packed
because it is packed.
Yeah, it is packed.
So yeah,
right.
So that's in line with your concept, and
yeah.
All right, so I have two more questions for you, Tor. And one is about, just do you have any boundaries in your work? Or if you have, what is that boundaries? If you can share it with us.
I guess I want to make this just more very general. I was saying this already. As an artist, you don't like boundaries, and but it's very hard to live without that and get rid of them. And but in the best sense of the question, I would say I avoid them as much as possible. And I am absolutely happy if I can resolve a work without headaches and compromises, etc. Yeah. But there are some ethics and also moral things you have to consider. So let's say this was a kind of self-critique all the time, yeah. So which is working subconscious, half conscious or whatever, and you never know where it comes from. Yeah, sometimes you do things you wouldn't have done years back. Things like this. But again, as any other artist, I don't like them, and I guess this is the freedom. What I was saying, the freedom of an artist, or that's what is the basic instinct of an artist. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
having no restrictions and no boundaries. And now I'm showing here, we see work which is using a kind of an aesthetic where in a different context. So if you change the context, or when you go back to the original context, where you would use these tapes or this bubble foil, etc., it has a very different meaning. Now, getting this out of that context and seeing it here in a context of an artwork, it is of course having a very different meaning, and I guess this is a little bit also the let's say the way I like to work.
Okay, another one, and that's the last question from me, which we ask from all the artists about this, since just this exhibition is an online exhibition, okay, and I want to know, how do you feel, or what do you think about this digital art world, or just there's something, just even though your work was about the post-digital, but just this is not about that, just how do you like that, excuse me, and do you think just that would be something of your future projects, or just to work digitally, or just to share your feelings and your thought about the digital world or digital art?
I guess I cannot contribute so much to this question because I am a very different generation. But I was sharing with you my thoughts and concerns right in the beginning about this. But I like, of course, this especially these days, where you see there's coming so much new. There are coming so many new forms, and there's a kind of a scene or community, which is internationally working on forms you would never have seen or realized, or let's say accepted, let's say imagined before. That's absolutely an interesting thing, and I'm very open to that. That does not mean that I want to go ahead with something like this, or I don't want to create an NFT tomorrow. Yeah, no. But I like to see these things. I like to understand more about that as much as I can, and yeah. So I guess there are many open ways we cannot even imagine what is happening in 100 years, something like this. Yeah, what form or in what, let's say, in what situation are we as artists? Let's say related to the space we're going to exhibit, yeah, as well as seeing collectors or the audience, yeah. Maybe it's a wide, way more different thing than what we have in still now, and maybe the metaverse is some sort of this exploration way or so. I don't know this, but I think there's coming something, and I find this very interesting. What's going on? And just may I just mention this a little bit? I was working on another project. I guess I shared with you where I have a hypothetic. I was trying to create a hypothetic character. So some sort of publications, yeah, they are not existing, but they would being published in, let's say, 20 years. So I was designing titles, and I was creating fake identities and something like this, yeah. And this is something where I was trying to understand or to imagine, not to understand, but to imagine what's going on in 20 years. How do we perceive work, see things? Yeah. So is it much more than now, this digital world, or is it or am I living then with my family in a little house in south of France and be happy to have no computer, something like this? And but then coming back to this, what we also were discussing in the beginning, that still we are human beings, and I guess we cannot get off the scene. We cannot leave our perception and sensory system. That's a very important thing. I don't know. I'm not so sure if this is replaceable. And maybe there's a fantastic filmmaker. What's his name? It's still on Netflix, a film where he gets a group of females, into a certain very scary future world, and they have to explore something that came from outer stellars, from outer stellar system, landed on the planet, and then this whole let's say these whole images turn into such a hyper realistic, super fantastic world with amazing images that you are overwhelmed. What's the author? I don't have this name at the moment. Overwhelmed by this or I was overwhelmed by that until I thought at the end it's possible to see this. It's possible to understand there's something more than us here, and a very different kind of intelligence. Yeah, we're talking about artificial intelligence, but we don't even understand what other sorts of intelligence is existing. Yeah, so I'm, I guess, until the end, interested in everything. What is coming? Let's say this.
That's true. Yeah. Thank you very much, Tor. My question finished here. So it was amazing. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And now I would like to invite the participants to ask their questions. If there is any question, please ask Tor and take your chance to ask your question, and he's here to answer your questions, if there is any. Is there? Okay, seems everything was clear. Let me check. Do you have anything to say to young artists? This is a question from a young artist. Tor. One of our participants asked you this question. Do you have anything to say to young artists? Any advice or anything to, you know, just, yeah.
Thank
Since
you so
you
much.
are working with the young artists, so just that's a chance, yeah.
Are you from China? Anyhow, yeah, thanks for this question. I guess I'm happy about all young artists. They are open-minded and they have a very clear idea, not very clear, but let's say they have a good idea of what they want to do in the future, and they are not restricting, limiting themselves by anything. So that's something what we were discussing already, but what I also mean is sometimes when you start as a young artist, you are facing difficulties, yeah. I had this in my past when I was young, so I couldn't really follow up from the beginning with my visual thinking. Yeah, so I wanted to study art quite from the scratch in the beginning, but my father, who is an engineer, he did not accept it, and so I had a very different way then, and came also later than some young artists I meet now here at the college. So I just can share this with you, this experience that I would say, yeah, just do that what you want and what you feel and what you also perceive, what you smell, yeah, what's good for you. And even failures are good, yeah, it's a way, it's a process, yeah. And also think about exactly this, that there can be burdens and headaches and yeah, restrictions, and there can be resistance. Everything belongs then also to this, what you do, and to the way you do anything. I hope it was not too general.
Okay, is there anything you want to ask Tor? Please ask. Otherwise, I can close the session.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Tor. And I would like to thank our wonderful team, Chung Hui Shin, Ong Pei, Alessandra Villa, Sahel Hosseini, and Emma Nasiri for their great contribution and help for this exhibition. Thanks again to Tor for showing his works and sharing his art and experience with us today. And thanks to all of you for joining us and for your patience with this, you know, just whatever happened in the middle of this thought. Please visit the exhibition, and you also can download the e-catalog at www.ieartprojects.com. The exhibition will run until 3rd of April 2022. Have a lovely evening and hope to see you all soon. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, team from IE project. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tor.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.